Ethan hadn't seen me since February when I got home in August, and we got 3 weeks.
That was probably more.
Okay, so we got 3 weeks of just father-son time when I got back, which was really good for him. Kind of, it eliminated a lot of the, like, I think his need to compete for attention with his sister and that kind of thing, because he was able to kind of reconfirm his relationship to his dad, and I think that was important. I think that was an advantage. I still would have preferred to have everyone home faster, but you know, sometimes things like that come with a silver lining. So, and I think he valued that time. Are we diapering, sweetheart?
Yes.
Okay. I think he valued that time too, because he got 3 weeks of mom wasn't home, little sister wasn't home, it was just him and dad. I mean, he went to work with me every day, and it was cool, and the guys around the office, so it's a funny thing for me, because the guys I work with when we're working are legitimately scary people. We are. It's what we do. But you get those guys around their kids or somebody else's kids for that matter, we turn into this giant like gaggle of teddy bears. So Ethan had a great.
See that.
So Ethan had a great time because we'd go to the office and he'd just start wandering through the team rooms at the office, and you know, guys would be there and somebody would give him a soda and somebody else would give him some candy or something. Somebody else would. I think one team put on like 4 or 5 different movies for him over the course of the day. Like I looked up while I was doing paperwork in my office, I'm like, where did he go? And I wandered down the hall and he's set up like a little king in one of the team rooms. But yeah, so that worked out really well for us. But the biggest piece of advice I would give to people is plan to travel around the country and get all of your prep work done very early. So one of the things that Jennifer and I didn't bank on was how fast, once the call came, we needed to be there. So you guys called her, she called me, and I think I had 4 or 5 days before I had to be on a plane to Warsaw. So all the little like things back here wasn't that big a deal for me, because all I had to do was throw my stuff in a suitcase and leave. You know, I was living out of hotels anyway, so fine, whatever. But for her, she had little like, oh, I'm going to do this before I go, I'm going to do that before I go. If you have little stuff like that, do it quickly after the first visit, because if we had done it then, things would have been wrapped up in March. It would have made the wait a little more unpleasant, a little harder to deal with. But she took mine to the bathroom to change her diaper. But all those things would have been taken care of. And for that matter, like, get the international driver's license. You go to AAA and get one of those for reference for $30. So go get the international driver's license before you go, because we kind of banked on, well, it's not a big deal because we'll just take a train from wherever we are, not realizing that the Białystok doesn't have a train station. So what you have to do there is you get on a bus and you take a bus halfway to Warsaw, and that's where the last train station is, and then you can catch a train to wherever in the country.
We're going to blame the short notice on Lena, because we usually give people about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You take credit for that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It worked out fine in the end. It's just things looking back that we would have done if we had had a crystal ball and had known exactly what was going to happen. But as it stands, you know, we were just happy to get the call, because we were both kind of in that, like, we had met her, we had spent time with her, and now we were just waiting to be able to go back and get her.
How long did it take in between trips?
It was very short for us. We met her the last week of January, and we started our bonding period on the 28th of June.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was only a couple of months, but those couple of months after you've already met your child and had to leave your child in a foreign country to go home and wait, it's really rough. I mean, it was good though, because it gave us time. We knew about what size she was, so we came back in a lot of the clothes that we had gotten for her, because we read 2-year-old, and we're like, oh, well, okay, we'll get 2-year-old size clothes, and that's not Maja's size at all. So we came back and we came back and swapped that. We came back and Jennifer started swapping out a lot of the clothes and such that we had. Hi, baby. You know what?
It's like not that.
so we swapped that stuff out. We were able to get her bedroom set up the way we wanted it. Not that it mattered, because as soon as I got back from Poland, I swapped both kids' rooms because we needed to put her brother in the room that had a little bit more square footage. Because we also realized that things like his things like his Legos needed to be where Maya couldn't get to them. So we have a giant bonus room in our house. We discovered we needed to pull a significant amount of Ethan's toys out of there and put them in his room. So therefore, he needed a bigger room. So the kids' rooms got swapped.
I know you're ready to go.
How long did you guys, like, I really don't remember, like, how long did you wait for Lena to call you and say there's a child for you? Was it the first one?
So,
or was it not?
We had two referrals.
Oh, okay.
We had two referrals offered to us prior to Maja's.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need him?
Yeah, he can come with me.
Ethan.
All right.
Ethan.
See you, kiddo. We'll go for a walk.
Hey. Behave and help your mother. So we had two referrals offered to us prior to Maja's referral. The first one just wouldn't have been the right fit for our family, and it killed us to say no to it. But you have to look at these things as what's going to fit in the family versus thinking about it in terms of, well, this is another kid that's not going to get adopted because I said no. That was really hard on both of us. Then we accepted another one that fell through, and that was, we accepted that in early November, and we got the call from Lena to say that it had fallen through right after Christmas. But Lena was very smart about this, because she called to tell us that the referral had fallen through, and she also told us about Maja in the same phone call. And
You take credit for that too, being smart?
Well,
smart.
I want them to do that, because,
That's a good plan. But so with that, we took a minute to kind of absorb that the one referral had fallen through and to talk about things, and then we reviewed Maja's referral, and the way we approached it was, if we had seen Maja's referral first, we would have accepted it immediately. So I think I called you back after about an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, very
And
shortly.
said, no, let's do it. When can we go see her? And from that point, so that was the week between Christmas and New Year. I think it took about a month before the first visit, something along those lines.
Very short, yeah.
Yeah. End of January, we flew to Poland to meet her. We spent 5 days there, and I'll also put a plug in for the Golden Rule Travel Agency, because those guys did right by us. We flew during the blizzard that hit in January and got trapped in Boston. I was able to call them at 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't even balk at taking my call. They had us rebooked on another flight within 45 minutes, had us set up in a hotel within another 20 minutes, took complete care of us the whole way through, and we were on the last flight out of the States to get across the Atlantic. Because it was fine once we got to Europe, but it was getting out of the U.S. We were on the last flight that got out of Boston before they closed the airport. So if it had not been for the travel agency, because half our flight was still in line trying to get onto a flight, if it had not been for the travel agency, we would have missed our initial visit window, which would have been very difficult for both of us. So we spent 5 days, hung out in Białystok.
You still like your adoption agency better than your travel agency, right?
Course.
There you go. All right, good.
Well, they got me to my kid. You guys helped me get my kid. So, I mean, there's not really a comparison there. But we got there in Warsaw. Magda met us at the airport in Warsaw, and she was great. Arranged the driver and the hotel and everything to get us up there, kind of shepherded us through the process of dealing with. So there's so Maja was in an institute, so she wasn't a foster care kid. So in addition to dealing with the administrators at the institute, you also have to deal with the agency or the adoption center that's for your locality in Poland, which was another thing that we wouldn't have even known about if we hadn't had Magda kind of smoothing things along for us. So she shepherded us through that meeting, got us to the orphanage, and then got us to where we met Maja, and then very smartly just kind of faded into the background and let us spend time with our new daughter.
Are those people scary?
No, not at all.
No?
No, the workers at the Institute are great.
Yeah.
They seemed genuinely, when we finally took Maja from the Institute, it seemed like kind of a bittersweet thing for them. Like, they were really happy that she was getting adopted, but they
Right.
were also really sorry to see her go. We were a little worried because, you go through the adoption classes that you have to do for the Hague Convention, and it talks about how orphanage workers don't like the kids and don't treat them right and that kind of thing. It's not the case in Poland. They genuinely care a lot about those kids, and they take really good care of them. And they're very easy to deal with, apart from needing a translator, because I don't speak fluent Polish. So, although we did discover, when I went back, that her primary caretaker at the Institute speaks fluent Russian, so I didn't need a translator at that point. She could talk. And it was good, because that way, when she came to the apartment to visit us, we didn't, Magda lives in Warsaw, obviously, so she didn't have to drive, I think it's 2 hours to get to Białystok from Warsaw. So she didn't have to make that drive, because the caretaker and I could just talk to each other. It wasn't a big deal. And then the other thing that I would advise people of with the bonding period is go with the intention of just sticking to your normal routines as closely as you can. So don't plan it out like a vacation. Plan it like you're going to live in this country, and then put in some trips like you would at home. At home you wait till the weekend and take the kids to go see amusement parks or historical sites or something like that. At least that's what we do. Stick to that routine. Stick to what normal is going to be like when you get home, because then that way the only thing that changes for your child is where that's happening, because that's going to be a rough enough shift for them. They're going to be in a completely different environment, away from everything they know. So if they've already got a routine established with you, and you can offer them that consistency when they get back, it's that much easier to help them adjust into your family, versus having to change what their daily routine is, what language they hear when they walk around, what the sights look like, things like that.
That's some good advice. Does a social worker agree with that?
I do. Routine
Yeah?
helps just for security and feeling like they have some sort of balance, so that's really helpful. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Very cool. Social worker approved advice. Very well.
So yeah, we had a really good time for parts of it. And the other thing that I would caution people about is there are going to be days during that bonding period where you're just over it, and you're not enjoying anything. You just want to go home.
Yeah.
You're going to have those days. Not everything is going to be blissful happiness from the minute you pick your child up. There's going to be things your child is going to get fussy about that you didn't see coming. Most parents are going to have a good instinct about what the child is going to really be a problem about. But there's always going to be things that pop up that you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Like bath time.
Yeah, and bath time, definitely. And if you go into it with the perception that everything's just going to be smooth from the minute you pick your child up, those days are going to hit you a lot harder.
Yeah.
And you're gonna feel a lot more upset by times like that.
Yeah.
Versus the two of us were able to kind of just settle into, this is just gonna be one of those days. Like,
You're flexible.
we would get up in the morning and Maja would be fussy about something for no particular reason. We just kind of like, well, it looks like it's gonna be one of those days, so bye, baby. We just kind of, it's gonna be one of those days, so you settle into, okay, we'll try the park. Park's not working, okay, let's go to the ice cream stand and then we're gonna go home. Okay, baby. There's, one of the things Białystok has is there's a soft serve ice cream stand on almost every corner. So, and I think it's like ridiculous. It's like 5 zloty for an ice cream for her, and 5 more for each one of us. So, take some coins with you when you go out. You get her a soft serve ice cream, which there's not a kid I've met yet that can't be pacified by a sufficient quantity of ice cream. Park's not working, get her some ice cream, take a walk around the block, take her back to the apartment. Oh, staying inside's not working today? Okay, well, let's try going out in the courtyard out behind the apartment and see how that